Hello and welcome to Northwestern Ontario Voices Dryden. I'm Leanne Favreau. Up next, we have the July 24th City Council meeting from Dryden, Ontario. The topics covered in this meeting cover a wide range from the community's dedication to growth and development to proposals for a leadership summit between city and neighboring First Nations communities. Council also discussed and supported plans for growth for Dryden's junior hockey team, the Dryden Ice Dogs. Additionally, concerns over airport fees and recent funding announcements were addressed. Thanks for watching, and as always, if you have news and information to share about Northwestern Ontario, please email us at info@nwovoices.ca.
Okay, I now call the open council meeting on Monday, July 24th, 2023, back to order, and ask that everyone make sure their cell phones turned off for the duration of the meeting. I'd like to begin by acknowledging with respect that we are in treaty-free territory, and that the land on which we are gathered is a traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and Métis people. Now I'd like to ask the clerk to provide a report concerning matters discussed during our earlier closed session, please.
Thank you. There was one item on the closed agenda this evening, and on that item, the CAO provided council a report pertaining to his second quarter performance goals and measurements document.
Okay, thank you. Now we have one delegation this evening. I invite Councillor Keaveney and Mr. Mitchell to address the council from our podium over there, please.
You did it.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, City staff, distinguished guests. My name's Ted Mitchell, and this is
Catherine Keaveney.
and we are co-chairs of the Working Circle. And tonight we are bringing a recommendation to Council. Sure.
Excellent. So we are recommending that Dryden City Council consider the recommendation of our Working Circle, that they proceed with a motion to host a leadership to leadership meeting between Dryden Mayor and Council with neighboring First Nation communities and Chief and Council, with the neighboring First Nation communities, Chief and Council, and direct the Working Circle and City staff to proceed with organizing a leadership summit. The Working Circle is hopeful that all council members are available for this event because it is very, very important for all of us to meet with the other leadership. And if successful, the Working Circle and City staff will begin to organize this event more aggressively.
Some corporate background. The City of Dryden vision statement says, Dryden is a vibrant, safe, healthy, and inclusive community with a diverse economy, providing an exceptional quality of life. Further to that, our mandate of the Working Circle is to identify issues important to Dryden's Indigenous community, recommend actions the city can take to improve experience of Indigenous people, and propose ways the community can bring together Indigenous and non-Indigenous residents.
So background for this, there hasn't really been any opportunity for us as a leadership in City Council to formally meet any of the leadership from our neighboring First Nation communities. So that is why we had the idea to propose this. So I'll take the first point.
Sure.
Okay, thanks. The summit is a great way to meet with other councils and discuss our common goals, vision, and ideas and opportunities for partnership. The agenda we're hoping is to be co-created with all of the attendees, just so that everyone, so that we can be as inclusive as possible to the topics and ideas and priorities of everyone.
Dryden is positioned to host leadership from neighboring First Nation communities and ensure that they know we are a willing partner in truth and reconciliation. The City of Dryden prioritizes learning and a genuine relationship with Indigenous peoples.
This event fits really well within the scope of the Working Circle and City Council and is a meaningful way to build relationships and engage with the neighboring First Nation communities.
Neighboring First Nation communities to consider inviting to the leadership would come from Magizi-Shagagon, Eagle Lake First Nation, Wabagooney-Shagagon, Wabagoon Lake Ojibwe Nation, Wabaskang First Nation, and Lac Seul First Nation.
And so a goal for this initial meeting is hopefully to create an opportunity for us to have more regular meetings and conversations happening between us as the City of Dryden, as well as the surrounding First Nation communities.
Timeline and culminating event is that there would be this leadership summit, hopefully sometime this fall in the September-October timeframe.
The financial implications are the cost of the facilities, cost of meals and refreshments, gifts to be exchanged, and the cost for ceremony. So depending on what that looks like, it might be cost to bring in a host drum, cost to purchase tobacco, things like that.
Miigwech Bizendawiya Nungam. Thank you for listening today.
Yes, and thank you to Roger and Colleen for helping us kind of collect all of our ideas in this beautiful presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation. I'll just open up to councillors for any questions or comments regarding your proposal. Councillor Latham?
I think it's a great idea and I support it.
Councillor Paul?
I echo my colleague's comment that it is a great idea. Just as a quick question, how are things going with Eagle? They appointed a new chief there yet, or do we?
I do know that they have some internal meetings planned for this month. And I do know that Eagle had some internal meetings planned for this month, and I have not seen a formal announcement at this time. Yeah, but we do have members of the working circle that are keeping an eye apprised on that.
Councillor McKinnon?
I would support this initiative 150%. It's very important to those communities and our communities to establish this dialogue. We've been trying for years to establish dialogue, so this is very important.
All right, yeah, I'm supportive as well. I think it's a great opportunity for our communities to get together. We do have a lot in common as far as I think some of our vision and goals and objectives as for each community. It's a great way to learn from each other. And I think you look at the surrounding areas, there's challenges and opportunities out there. And I think we kind of have, I think, importance of having regular meetings as you build relationships with the leadership. We can find some common mutual beneficial goals to reach for. It'd be highly beneficial. So yeah, sounds like you have our full council support. So as far as proceedings, we'd have to get a motion to the regular process. I'll ask the clerk to answer that.
I'm just trying to, I guess we would have to work with the working circle and plan something to figure out who's doing what and how and where and what have you. And then we could come back to council and discuss, because obviously, council will need to play a major part in this as well. And I believe, Mayor Harrison, there's been some sort of discussion already about some of that involving yourself, from what I've been informed.
Yeah, it would take a bit of time to get together for formal invitations to go out. Personal invitations, so we'll have to work through that details. Yeah. Right, thank you very much. Yeah. Okay, we now have a presentation. Nice Dogs Manager. I'd like to invite Mr. Svensson and Mr. Lang to address council, please, at the podium. Or Mike. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, first of all, everybody, thank you for your time. Not just tonight and the last time I was here, but in general, thank you for your service to our community. It doesn't go unnoticed. I know all of you are very busy people, and we appreciate, Eric and I were just having a conversation about this. our little job with the Ice Dogs, there's some similarities that we're seeing go on here, and we appreciate your service to our community. So first of all, I wanted to bring up that upon embarking on this project, pleading for our case for a new room, we identified several talking points on the topic. We divided those into what I considered sentimental pleas and practical ones. And I dedicated my time at the first delegation we had on the topic to knowledge as well as the sentimental rationale behind the ask at hand here today. The value of the team, the community, the philanthropy that the club is known for, and the good that it does in our community. And I could go on and on about this. Most of the time when we talk about the Ice Dogs, it's preaching to the choir because we're talking to fans or to the inner circle, the people that actually operate the team. So when we're talking outside of that room, you know, I feel obliged to go on about it because obviously I have a passion for it. Today, you know, we've already talked about that. So I'm here to concentrate on the practical and fiscal elements of what we're asking for. And not much on the fiscal piece because again, it's evident, right? The team has a proven track record as an economic driver in the city and the region, as well as being a reliable customer and tenant of the arena in the city. And the proof of that is simply in the 25 years of relationships that we've built with good stewardship and support from the city that will continue for another 25 years. For the practical element of what we're talking about, I brought this drawing and I just want to spend a minute trying to give you an idea of what we're looking at. So if you held it with the drawing in the bottom of it, so on your left thumb, you'd see shower. On your right thumb would be jersey room, medical. Okay. So if you imagine standing at center ice of the arena and looking up to where the Ice Dogs locker room is, on your left thumb would be the stairwell that would be starting at the stairs on the left end. And on your right would be directly behind the sound booth. So the area where our current room is. What's not on the drawing is all of the room to the right of that would go to the stairwell on the other side. Okay, does anybody have any questions about the drawing before I go on? You know the geography a little bit? Okay. So we'll reference it a couple of times as I go on here. Okay, so the first practical element I wanted to bring up is the notion of sheer space. Okay, so the locker room is meant to be a home away from home for these young men that we recruit from all over North America. It is our welcoming place for our players and their first impression of our city and our team. The existing space that we work in is less than 300 square feet, in which we accommodate 25 junior A players, 18 and 20-year-old men, and we have a reputation for recruiting larger players. This is typically less than half the size of the rooms of our peer clubs in junior A in our region. And down the narrowest stretch of our room, now on your right thumb, I want to point out what our existing room is, okay? The portion that says coach room and jersey room, those are tags for what they would be in the future if this is approved, but they presently are our existing room. So you see the narrow piece down the jersey room side? That there are stalls in there for lockers, and it's so tight that when players are facing each other, they're knee to knee. There is no shower or bathroom in the present locker room, and the lack of space and facilities necessitates use of other rooms in the arena. The next practical element I want to discuss is a competitive element. So we have the smallest and least functional room in our league. The team is a driver for community pride, and our annual Hometown Proud game is a feature of this where we support another community group. Last year, the Falcons, the year before that, Dryden Minor Hockey Association. While we make do with our room and rely on the narrative of the character that it has, there's a simple fact that I will reiterate to demonstrate the truth of it. And some of you know this, and some of you may not, but we do not show our locker room to our recruits until they've signed to play here. Now, for frame of reference, locker rooms in this sport, in this world, are typically a recruitment tool that teams use to leverage and convince players to sign with them. So it's simply a competitive improvement vastly if we have a better room for our recruitment endeavors. The next element I wanted to bring up is a privacy one. So we need an enclosed shower space. During games and practices, players are sometimes made to move from room to room, from our room to room 8. Now, room 8, for those of you who don't know, if you're holding it like we talked about, is past your right thumb, further down the hallway towards the what we'd call the lobby end of the arena. When the arena is full and there's a large crowd for the Ice Dogs, that sometimes has a player walking from our room to the shower in various stages of undress. Now, I've been doing this for 10 or 15 years, and the whispers about that are growing louder through me. And it's a major reason that my advocacy for this improvement is rooted in. We need to have some privacy for the guys to be able to shower at the rink in our room. The next one is a medical privacy piece. So the nature of this level of athletics comes hand in hand with a regular need for therapeutic and or medical treatment. We have trainers, a team doctor, and therapists to work with the players, but we have no space for medical treatment within our room. Alternatively, the trainer's table is literally in the hallway of the upper mezzanine of the arena. So it would be slightly to the right of this drawing on out of the frame of reference here. But occasionally you're dealing with well, any measure of injury that necessitates treatment at the rink during the game should have more privacy than what we're currently able to provide. We need a space within a room where players can be seen for medical treatment with some privacy. Occasionally, you get serious injuries at games, and it's a difficult situation when you have guys that close to fans or to the public, and they're in some form of distress. The next element is a team cohesiveness / fair treatment of all players. So back to that narrow jut of our locker room, it's, you know, the worst case scenario. And again, we do make do with what we can, and we rely on the character that we feel is baked into that room. Hopefully one day we're not talking about the character of the room, we're talking about the luxury of it. But, you know, with that narrow jut, it's almost, you would say, isolating for a large chunk of the players that have to use that corner. They're shut off from the unity of the locker room, and they're shut off from the dialogue with the rest of the team and the coach in between periods or at practice. The room is regularly used for communication with the team. In that little corner, these guys are half involved and half not. It's isolating for them, and they need to have a space where they can all be together in the same room. So that brings me to what exactly we're asking for. So we're asking that the city of Dryden consider making the steps to improve our locker room. This drawing was made by Eric, and we have an estimated total cost of a project, which you know, we believe is close to be $200,000. So tonight we're here to request that the city of Dryden consider submitting an application to the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund Corporation to secure 75% of that amount, with the remaining $50,000 investment in this capital enhancement to be provided by the city. And with that, anybody have any questions or comments?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Benson, for your presentation. Now open up the floor for council members for questions. Mr. Noel?
Thanks, Your Worship. Mike, thank you for that presentation. I have to come hat in hand and ask for money. Didn't realize that the dressing rooms sparse. I do recall, or I should say Santa recalls seeing one of the Ice Dogs coming into his dressing room there. You know, the Ice Dogs bring this community together. It's a meeting place that you see people that you haven't seen a lot in town. These young men are great local ambassadors, good ambassadors for the city of Dryden when they go back to their communities all over North America, and they get to tell about their experience here in Dryden. Go through personal observation that's been the case. They're having parents say how they enjoy having their kids here for a time in Dryden. I'm certainly supportive of anything that council can do to make this happen for you. Who would be making the application to the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund?
Mr. Nesbitt?
Off.
Through your worship. So if council chose to provide staff direction to investigate this further and submit application, that would be the city that would submit application. It's our facility. And therefore our responsibility to submit for funding. Thank you.
Just a follow-up question then. Where would we be, seeing as we probably asked for an awful lot of money for the renovation as it is?
Through your worship, I couldn't speak for any potential funding partner, Councillor Knoll. One potential partner was mentioned. There may be others if city staff investigate. But I couldn't speak for any of the potential funding partners.
Councillor Keating?
Thank you for the chair. I'm just wondering, what kind of timeline are you hoping for? Like, is this something that you would like to see us potentially bring forward? As we are having budget talks very, very soon for 2024. Is that an ideal situation for you, or are you thinking this is more long-term?
So again, with a practical element to that response is that, we're kind of bound to our season. So ideally, in a perfect world, yeah, it's on this year's budget, and then the work is done in the spring, summer when we're not occupying it, and we move into it next fall. But again, we've been operating this way for some time. We're just grateful for the opportunity to have it considered.
Councillor Tardif?
I agree with Councillor Knoll regarding the benefit of the team to the town. It's as much a recruitment tool to trying to get professionals and other people to town as a golf course or arena or anything itself. And I definitely would support staff looking into funding opportunities to help you guys out that would minimize our exposure on the financial side.
Councillor McKinnon?
I too would support this initiative. This team has been in the community for 25 years. They've done nothing but good work, and they're under good management. And I see it as a draw to our community. People come from other communities to watch hockey here, so I support this 100%.
Councillor Latham?
Yes, through the chair, I too support it. I just have one question. The space that you have down in the lobby that I think it's use it as the room downstairs, would that be up there now, and that space would be freed up again?
So the initial plan with that space was to be the coach's office, but what we ended up using, we're basically doing, I guess the greatest need for the space we have, because we don't have enough space for our needs, right? So what that has become, if you notice on game nights, that's basically that's where the office of the game night crew runs out of. That's where our merchandise is and the ticket stuff. So the coach doesn't use it. We would still require that room.
Councillor Price?
Yes, thank you through the chair. Thank you so much for your presentation, Michael. It was very insightful not that I'm get a lot of time down in the arena, but very well done in showing the need for this facility to be in place for the players. I am 100% in favor of doing that NOHFC application, and I just wonder maybe in that $50,000, the 25% that you had spoken about, if I'm not sure if that would fall into the category of the MAT tax or the DTTA Councillor McKinnon would maybe know more about that as well. It's more to do with tourism, but sometimes you can look at definitely the ice dogs as a tourist attraction, because a lot of times you're seeing all of those parents from those players coming in, staying in the hotels. So that is something that I would maybe recommend Councillor McKinnon to, and maybe also for you to get together and do a presentation to the DTTA, because they may have some funding available as well within that 50,000 in case the city's coffers are not as or not able to provide the whole thing. So there's still an opportunity there as well. But I am in favor regardless.
Councillor Keaveney?
Sorry, and
Oops.
thank you, through the chair. So I just have a question, and this might be better answered by Mr. Lansdell-Roll. Sorry to somewhat put you on the spot. Excellent idea, Councillor Price. I think that's a really great thing for us to look into to see if we can use MAT tax funding. But if not, Stephen, would this potentially come out of the 50,000? So the 25%, would it have to come out of like a capital budget or operating? I don't know, maybe Roger, you might have an answer for this, but either one. I'm just wondering what line it might need to come out of.
You can take it. Basically anything over 25,000 to a renovation to any one of our buildings would be a capital item. And the project, like what Mike had quoted, is he has some estimates that would be $200,000, and that would be the project total. If we were able to secure external funding of, let's say, 75%, that would be factored in, and the net city cost would be the other percentage. But yeah, the project itself would be capital, and it would be a $200,000 project.
Councillor Tardif?
Through the chair there. Another question. I just wanted to clarify the space that you're proposing, putting the new dressing room and everything in, and obviously Steve, you've been in touch with Steve, the facility manager there, and is that available, and is modeling this to the operations of this facility?
So did you want that, Steve? Okay, yes, I have had an opportunity to meet with leadership within the admin, and we did walk through it. Eric worked as well with Steve to put this document together, and there's a consensus that it's feasible at least.
If I may add to that, with the expansion nearing completion and the development, and the availability of 4 new dressing rooms, we may have the opportunity to, we have storage that abuts the dressing room for our minor hockey, for what was the hockey academy, for figure skating. Now that we won't need dressing room 7 and 8 and that shower area that's over on the other side, which he speaks to as you head towards the lobby, that creates the opportunity to be able to move minor hockey down that way. Same thing with figure skating. So it is an opportunity for sure. Our goal, and part of our plan when we had submitted that funding application, was to promote accessibility and eliminate those staircases that players and grandparents and everyone else have had to navigate over the years to be able to go there. So we do not intend to use 7 and 8 as a dressing room moving forward. And it certainly leaves some opportunities to move people around, and even for ourselves for some private rental space.
So this would be expansion into 7 and 8 is what this diagram is showing.
Other way around. So 7 and 8 would the things that so if we're moving through the facility down, we want to put our room where there's currently storage, and that storage would move to 7, 8. Yeah.
I think we have consensus here that we want to explore, or moving forward and exploring, I think that financial arrangement. Like you mentioned one funding agency, but there may be different ones that we'd look into from a city point of view. We do need to also explore opportunities for, they say if it was a different NHAC would, 25%, where would that come from? Whether partly from city or some other activity or venue or mat tax. So I think from a city point of view, we're willing to explore that potential, work with Ice Dogs, fulfilling this goal of yours to expand the dressing room. And I've been there. Councillor Keevan and I were invited up, and definitely came away with thinking, yeah, our Ice Dog deserve a higher standard, just from a hygiene point of view, aesthetics, and so yeah, I think that'd be very attractive and I think almost necessary, Ice Dogs to function, in this league that we're in. So good presentation. Thank you very much. And I think we've probably received what you're coming for.
Thanks again. Very much appreciated.
Okay, we have no public notices this evening. We have no committee and board reports from council this evening. We're now at consent agenda part 1. General, I'd like to ask the clerk to conduct this section of the agenda, please.
Okay, as always, I'll review the items in consent agenda part 1 general, and when I'm done, I will ask if there are any of these items that members of council would like to speak to or sever for a separate vote. Tonight, both items in the consent agenda part 1 are under adopt receive minutes, and we have the minutes of the July 10th council and public planning meetings to be adopted. Does any member of council wish to speak to or have either of these severed for a separate vote? Seeing none, I'd be looking for somebody to move and second the consent agenda 1 motion, please. Councillor Price and Councillor Keating. Moved by Councillor Price, seconded by Councillor Keating, that council hereby consider the following items of the consent agenda part 1 general under the date of July 24th, 2023 as read and adopted, 13A and B.
All those in favor, we'll do that again with the mic on. Carried. We have no motions arising from previous council or awards of tender, request for proposal, or information items. So I'll move to consent agenda part 2, bylaws. I'll ask the clerk to ask someone to move in second.
Okay, again, I'll review the items in consent agenda part 2. And when I'm done, I'll ask if there are any of these bylaws that anybody would like to speak to or sever for a second vote, or a separate vote rather. This evening we have 3 bylaws. The first is bylaw 2023-38, a bylaw to authorize the execution of a site plan development agreement with Community Living Dryden and Sulikout for the development at 99 Albert Street. Bylaw 2023-39 is a bylaw to amend the 2023 fees and charges bylaw by deleting and replacing Schedule L, Public Works General. This is regarding the updated fees for the commemorative benches. And bylaw 2023-40 is a bylaw to amend the city's zoning bylaw by rezoning the properties at 107 and 109 Edgewater Drive from the residential type 1 zone to the multiple residential exception 1 zone with a reduced rear yard of 5.2 meters. And all of the reports regarding these bylaws were presented at the July 10th council and public planning meetings. And I'll ask if any member of council wishes to speak to any of these or have any of them severed for a separate vote. And once again, seeing none, I'll look for somebody to move and second the consent agenda part 2 motion, please. Council, thank you. Moved by Councillor McKinnon, seconded by Councillor Keating, that council consider consent agenda part 2 bylaws under date of July 24th, 2023, which includes the following bylaws as read first, second, and third time. Bylaws 2023-38, 2023-39, and 2023-40.
All those in favor? All right, carried. Thank you. We're now down to staff reports. I'll ask who's presenting for this one? Is it Ms. Arsenal? I'll ask you to come forward and present your report, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name's Lynn Arsenault, and I'm the Records and Legislative Coordinator for the City of Dryden. The staff report I have brought forward tonight is asking for Council's approval of fees for columbarium number 4, which will be installed in September at the Dryden Cemetery, consisting of 48 niches. As the report states, the fees are separated into resident and non-resident categories. A care and maintenance fee in the amount of $330 per niche is included in this pricing, which is a one-time provincially mandated fee. The proposed fees will carry through into the 2024 fees and charges and will be in effect once the bylaw reflecting this has been approved by council. That's it. Are there any questions?
Councillor Keating?
Thank you, through the chair. I just had a question because I couldn't find it anywhere on this, but what does a non-resident mean?
A non-resident is someone who doesn't pay the City of Dryden taxes.
Councillor Knoll?
Ms. Arsenal, can you explain what maintenance, care and maintenance would be? I'm just questioning because this fee seems lower than some family member paid for somebody, and I'm wondering how that can be. I must have missed something with the bill we got for the other.
So are you asking me what the care and maintenance fees are for? This is in, like, if you pay the one-time fee when you buy a plot or a niche, in this case, which I'm talking about, and that's it. It's forever.
So it's actually $1,630 then, right?
Included in the prices that are on the report is the $300 that I'm referring to. It's hidden in there. And I'm just telling you it's there. Were there any more questions?
Any more questions from council? No, I hear none. Okay, thank you very much for your report.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll now call on Ms. Gillen to present her report, please. Her reports.
Oh, good evening, Mayor and Council. So I am here in front of you again tonight, firstly for another site plan agreement. This site plan agreement is for 319 Grand Trunk Avenue, and it is obviously between the City of Dryden and what is known as Dryden Veterinary Services. This application is very similar to the last one that I presented to you in that we have received the value of site security of $71,000. We have received the site plan control fee and a conditional permit fee value for it. So very much like the last application, this particular project was able to provide us all the requirements for which I could issue a conditional permit to let them start some site work. The site work does entail the fact that they want to build a new veterinary clinic on this property. It is a 4,960 square foot building, so much larger than they're currently operating with. It will allow them to expand their services and help our community greatly. They have provided a signed site plan agreement. The agreement, the plans, the installation of municipal services, the water servicing with respect to the infrastructure, as well as our stormwater management, have been reviewed by Building and Planning and Public Works. It is a part-time building. Fire Services has done a preliminary review on it, and obviously the parking lot and area is adequately able to get a fire truck next to the building in case of emergency. Just a few of the details that typically happen with site plan, just so that everybody is aware that this is still standardly done. Once approved by council tonight, the signed agreement will be registered on title. So that is all of the regulations that we put into that agreement will be bound to the owner of the property, and it is to be a finished product once complete. Prior to any release of the financial security, and as mentioned was a 71,000, a site inspection would be conducted through our occupancy inspection to ensure that those site services, finishing, landscaping works are all in place prior to releasing the security back to them. And as mentioned before, conditional permits are only allowed when all of the items are in place. So they have provided us the full set of plans that can be approved through building permit. They have provided us the site plan control document, the signed agreement, the value of security, and the agreement to register it on title. So I present this application to you tonight for your review, for any questions or comments, and hopefully approval to move it forward.
Any questions, council? Councilor Keating?
Hi, thank you. Through the chair. So this looks awesome and extremely comprehensive. I just had a question about the current property and building that they have. Are they planned, like, do we know anything about the planning for that building? Is it, because I couldn't tell from the drawing that if that was going to be like turned into extra parking or turned into what other, maybe some green space or something. I was just wondering if there was any plan for that, or they were just going to keep it.
So through your worship, I don't have a particular answer as to what they are going to do with that property, but just to give you a little bit of a lay of the land. So the current property is a truly vacant piece of land. There is no structure, no building on it. They are not going inside or outside of property lines. They are not merging properties. So their existing property where they're operating today, as far as I understand, will remain status quo until this build is complete, at which time I do not know if they plan on selling it or plan on keeping it for future use.
Any other questions, council members? You're looking for us to endorse the site plan or move it forward for approval for next meeting, is that?
Yes.
Okay. Council, are you willing to endorse? Move forward, okay. Very good. Thank you very much. You have direction. We'll move forward. Thank you very much. Just to comment, it is good to see development. Dryden Veterinary Services expanding. It's been in a very small building for a long time, and nice to see, I believe, new ownership has taken control and is developing it. So very nice to see. Thanks for your report. And you have building and planning official plan. Okay, I'll ask Drew to make his report, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council members, for giving me an opportunity to present today. So a bit of background, Section 26 of the Ontario Planning Act requires the official plans to be revised at least every 5 to 10 years to ensure consistency with the PPS or the provincial policy statement. The current City of Dryden official plan came into effect with ministerial approval and passing of bylaw number 3970-2012 on June 18, 2012. The Ontario Planning Act requires municipalities to prepare and adopt an official plan to provide guidance for the physical development of communities. And the City of Dryden final draft official plan incorporate revisions to the current official plan to ensure consistency with the PPS and current provincial legislation. The official plan must respond to the anticipated population increase and ensure that sufficient land is available for future residential and economic development. The final draft official plan for the city of Dryden is consistent with the provincial policy statement, particularly to the new policies adopted in 2020. Recent provincial legislation, including Bill 23 and Bill 108, relating to matters such as sustainability, aging population, intensification, affordable housing, diversified economies, efficient servicing, and management of natural and cultural resources. The community engagement process included virtual meetings and online surveys with municipal partners, regional agencies, and indigenous communities, Working Circle, and Native Friendship Center. During this, the city's community gap study and business gap analysis, including the official plan update on September 8th to 10th, 2021. The information gathered from these sessions assisted city staff and the consulting team to draft the official plan to be consistent with the current legislation and revise the policies with clearer direction for implementation. The open house meeting was held on November 8, 2022, with newly appointed members of council and no members of public attended the meeting. The statutory public meeting was held on March 13, 2023, in the council chambers with the mayor and councillors, 13 members of the public attending virtually and in person, and 2 members of the Dryden OPP. The main comments from the meeting included highway bypass and commercial uses along Highway 17, housing and homeless shelter locations, intensification along the waterfront, and economic development. Comments received at the meeting and those emailed or mailed in were reviewed, and the OP was revised and considered appropriate to complete the final draft official plan recommended for council adoption. Key changes to the official plan. The final draft official plan incorporates new policies and revises existing policies to respond to provincial direction in the PPS and other development needs specific to the city of Dryden. Changes to the section of the official plan include Section 2, Goals and Objectives. Section 2 of the plan provides the community goals and objectives and has been revised to provide clearer direction. For example, focus for growth and intensification in settlement areas and integrating more housing options, including style of houses. Section 3, General Land Use Provisions, which provides the details on the general land use provisions and what they mean and what is required for new development or alterations to existing uses that require planning approvals. The new official plan has been prepared to be consistent with the PPS and not more restrictive or applied stricter policies that provided at the provincial level. Some of the updates and examples include clarity on accessory or secondary dwelling units, affordable housing, and tiny homes. Section 4, which is land use designations, provides additional policies for residential intensification and where growth should occur in an orderly manner. It also includes policies for when technical studies are required for the type of development. The technical studies are to be completed by the qualified professionals and assist decision makers in new development that avoid land use conflicts like noise, traffic, and parking issues, impacts to the environment, and impacts to cultural heritage resources, groundwater, or surface water. And Section 7 of implementation, which covers implementation tools for development, including community improvement plan areas, parkland dedication, indigenous engagement, and pre-consultation meetings, and complete application requirements. Changes to the policies include clearer language to allow council to know when to pass community benefits charges and when parkland dedication is required. Revised policies that allow council to delegate temporary use bylaws and remove of zoning holding provisions to the Committee of Adjustment, intended to increase staff ability to process applications and decrease build times. Additionally, as it is important to use respectful and consistent terminology, I'm glad to share that the official plan has been updated to reflect the use of word indigenous instead of aboriginal, and consistency in terminology is crucial to promoting inclusivity and respect for all communities. Our planning recommendation, the final draft official plan dated June 2023 version 14 is consistent with the 2020 provincial policy statement and current provincial legislation, including Bill 23 and Bill 108. Therefore, the building and planning staff recommend that Council adopts the City of Dryden official plan as presented, that the official plan as adopted, along with the record as required under the Planning Act, is provided to the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing for final approval, and the Council give first and second reading of the City of Dryden bylaw number 2023-41, including text and associated schedules, mapping, and appendices as approval in principle, pending ministerial approval of the official plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mehta. I'll open the floor for council members for any questions regarding your presentation or staff report. So we are looking to motion to adopt the city Dryden official plan that's been created. Any comments or questions? Bill Latham, Councilor Leith. Councilor Bryce.
Thank you. I'm just trying to get in. I'm having technical difficulties. There were a couple of wordsmithing things in there that I noticed, and I can just point them out to you afterwards, just so that we have a really good official plan. But more so, the comments were like a really good job. This is very comprehensive, and I couldn't imagine the amount of work that you guys put into this. It's like I said, an excellent job done on this. I did have a ton of, like, I had to read this like 5 times in order to absorb everything that was in here. And I'm sure I didn't absorb all of it still. But I did speak to Mr. Nesbitt today and kind of got things straightened. So don't really have much for questions in there. But I just wanted to say excellent job on this, and congratulations in getting her done. Well, thank you.
Yes, echo those sentiments. There was a lot of work to put this together, and it's a very comprehensive document to move us forward in our community. Congratulations. So we'll ask the clerk for someone to move in second.
Yes, and I heard Councillor Latham wanted to move it, and Councillor McKinnon, thank you, would like to second it. So moved by Councillor Latham, seconded by Councillor McKinnon. The council adopts the City of Dryden official plan as presented, that the official plan is adopted along with the record as required under the Planning Act is provided to the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing for final approval, and that council gives first and second reading of the City of Dryden bylaw number 2023-41, including text and associated schedules, mapping and appendices, as approval in principle, pending ministerial approval of the official plan.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. I would like now to call on Mr. Lansdale Roll to present his reports, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. My first staff report this evening is the 2024 budget parameters and direction. The recommendation is that council provide some direction to staff on the 2024 budget. I've included a copy of the 2024 budget calendar, and this month is identified as a date for council to establish some preliminary budget direction to staff. I'm not asking for any commitments this evening from council. It's just that as we start getting into the nitty-gritty of our 2024 budget, just to expedite things, make sure that we are meeting our timelines, and for efficiency purposes, it would be good that if we're focusing on items that are important to council and not wasting time. So for example, if don't look at service level increases if council's not interested in service level increases, or don't investigate service level reductions if council's not interested in service level reductions, things like that. So I'm just wanting some high level direction this evening from council so that we can move forward and meet that December timeline to have a budget approved. So there are a few areas for discussion that I've noted in the staff report, and we can discuss other items that aren't noted as well. But like I just mentioned earlier, service levels is something that we can discuss this evening. Capital budgeting, I provided what we internally, like so city funds, what we have committed the past 3 years. So it's, between $2 and $2.8 million of city funds going towards capital. And if staff can move forward, at least at this point in time, with the direction to have a plan that is in that ballpark. I will note that in 2023, there's a larger draw from our reserves, and that is primarily related to the Quint replacement project. With regards to levy increases, without seeing any draft budgets or more detailed information, I think it would be difficult for council to comment on, a range of levy increase that staff can work within. But again, this is just something that we can discuss. With regards to fees and charges, we have a policy that kind of guides and directs staff. But there might be opportunities for us to implement new fees or more aggressively increase fees. Just things like that I would like some direction on this evening. Oh, and I just wanted to comment, I don't know if if Allison has brought it to council's attention, but the attachment of our reserve and reserve funds, the estimated 2023 year imbalances was attached to the Q2 financial report, staff report. So that information is still within your agenda package. It's just at the back of the Q2 financial report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lansdale-Rowe. I'll just ask councilor members if they have any questions or comments. Start with Councillor Tardif.
Through the chair, as far as my opinion on direction for what you want on the service levels, I don't think you could look at a levy increase or anything without just going forward at current service levels to see if that's going to drive any levy increases on its own. And on your fees and costs, they're looking at, well, I guess maybe I was looking forward at the your quarterly report, but fees to be investigated, you should probably be directing staff to look into the airport fees based on us not probably getting the anticipated funding we'd previously have, and the level of subsidy the taxpayers have been paying to operate that airport over the last 10 years. It'd probably be a good idea to address those fees and adjust them accordingly to the users of the facility.
Anyone else from council? Councillor McKinnon?
I'd agree with Councillor Tardif there. I'm not interested in any service decreases for the community. So investigate it, investigate it looking at maintaining what we have. We definitely have to look at the fees structure at the airport. That's a primary look. My 2 cents.
Any other councillors? Oh, Councillor Keaveney.
Thank you, through the chair. I think when I first look at this, I am definitely in favor of maintaining our current service levels or some slight increase depending on what the service is. Again, we would have to kind of figure that out when looking at what we would like to do in 2024. I am hesitant to continue kind of the levy increases on a smaller basis. I think that right now a lot of people are struggling on fixed incomes, struggling with the cost of everything kind of going up. So I think we should have a really long conversation maybe about either going from, no levy increase to one that is on the higher end instead of doing small increases over the next however many years, just because that compounds and it might end up that people are paying more over the long term with the smaller increases. And I do see that the union collective agreement is in there. And so that's something that we're going to have to budget for, which is going to be really, really big too. So I think that's all I have question wise right now, but yeah, thank you.
Councillor Price?
Yes, thank you through the chair. Thanks for the calendar, Stephen. It gives us a really open-ended view of how busy you're going to be in the next couple of months for sure. Yes, the part about our negotiations coming up for our staff or employees certainly needs to be taken into consideration when we are planning our budget. For service levels, I don't foresee those having to go down. If, like I believe, as Councillor Keating has said, that if possible, maybe some of them may go up if the funding is there for them. I know it's always hard to go forth and say let's increase, but we have to be checking our reality here and making sure that our staff are being taken care of and service levels are also being taken care of and not going short on any type of increase. So I'll be watching this very closely and probably bugging you more now as we come out of the summer season and really digging down into the financials for our budget and just closely watching it. But I don't think that we should be decreasing any type of service, and we really need to be considering our staff in order to get them to where they should be paid. So I'll be mindful of those two things when I am watching the financial part of it. Thank you.
Councillor Latham?
Yes, through the chair. Service levels, status quo, in my opinion. The capital, do you consistently, is it a consistent number that you spent every year, or is it goes up or down? Or?
Yeah, through your worship, that's the information that I was providing is roughly over the past 3 years, we've been utilizing, I'm going to quote just over $2 million of city money towards our capital plan. Obviously, our overall capital plan deviates substantially based on years where we're able to secure substantial external sources of funds, or utilizing federal gas tax or OSIF formula-based funding. We might be pooling it, carry forward 1 year into the next to do a larger project. But from a city funding perspective, it's nice to know what kind of a line in the sand that we can work towards. So that's why I'm looking at, again, not any commitments this evening, but if we can build a plan, a draft plan around that $2 million of city funding, that would go a long way in getting that in meeting that December timeline from a budget perspective.
Okay, yeah, I can support that as well. The airport, I think we need to have a further conversation about the airport. I was actually surprised that we only have one flight a day, and I mean, we've got to have a real good look at what we're doing with the airport. So other than that, carry on.
Okay, from my point of view, I think, starting out with maintaining current service levels, that's a good start. I also, I thank you for the budget schedule, and as as we were all most elected, most of the new councillors jumped into the end of the budget process, so this is an opportunity for us to be from the start and work through it. So appreciate the schedule, and we'll work with you to bring this to completion. One thought I did have is, as when our first couple council meetings, we talked about water and waste treatment assets, and we looked at some changes there, and looking at our asset plan, we've got close to $100 million in assets in our water and waste treatment, and we know that I think we understand that we don't necessarily have the capital to do those repairs. So I think from my point of view, I'd like the staff to dive a bit deeper into that, because now that we have infrastructure fee, we've got a water meter fee, we've got different types of property. We've got vacant now, paying single dwelling. We have multiple residential. I think it would be good for council to understand a bit more through a report on the justification for the different infrastructure charges, and what does the water meter charge really go to, as part of that whole asset management. I think we really need to continue to look at how we can make our with the fees that we charge, how we make our assets, water and sewer, sustainable. It's one of our, I guess, the important assets in our city that we depend on, a quality water system and sewage system. So I think it's important that we look at that as close as we can and make it sustainable. So I would ask if council supports, ask staff to look more deeper into, bring a report about just those different, what water meter rates go towards, what the infrastructure goes towards, and see if there's any thing for council to look at. That's acceptable to council. Okay. That's my comments. Any other further comments from council members? Mr. Nesbitt.
Thank you, through your worship. Just a comment and clarification. So quite a few comments from council in regards to the airport, and I appreciate those comments, and I can say that reviewing fees and charges is already in progress. Not just the airport, but other facilities as well, but definitely our fees and charges at the airport. And then just to clarify Councillor Latham's comment on the one flight a day, I believe Councillor Latham was referring to scheduled flights. There's quite a bit more activity than just one flight a day at the Dryden Regional Airport, but from a scheduled service standpoint, that's more or less correct. Correct. Yeah. Thank you.
Mr. Lansdowne, do you have the direction you were seeking?
Yeah, I think I have, well, like I said, I'm just looking for some high level direction this evening, but I wanted to make a comment with regards to the water and sewer fees.
Sure.
Those are being looked at with along with our other fees and charges, but I'm not, maybe Blake can help me out on this. Was this council privy or approved the long-term financial plan for water? And if not, maybe when we do a staff report reviewing the water and sewer fees and the components that are involved in the water and sewer fees, maybe we could share that long-term financial plan as well.
Yep, you're referring to the 2026 water long range financial plan forecast, that document? Yeah. Okay, some of us are aware of it. Maybe a refresher would be in order. Thank you. Okay, I think that's it for comments. Thank you. If you want to move to your second report, please.
Sure. My next staff report is the presentation of a 2023 Q2 financial report. The attached report represents financial information for the 6 months ending June 30th of this year. A little bit of high level information. Our revenues were slightly higher than budgeted. This primarily relates to some external funding. We received some FedNor funding for our food aggregation and distribution hub feasibility study. We received Canadian Heritage funding for our digitization of the Dryden Observer. There's ISC funding, Indigenous Services Canada funding associated with the Wabaseemoong, I'm not pronouncing that correctly, evacuation, and as well as CSP grant for the OPP's Pathway project. All of these external sources of funding were approved or received after the 2023 budget was approved. And so we're going to, the year-end results will be positive with regards to revenue because of these additional sources of funds, but they'll be equally offset by unbudgeted expenditures related to these projects. I do anticipate that revenues will be a little bit higher than budgeted, and this is mainly due to the rising interest rates, and the funds that we hold in our investment accounts are generating increased revenues that's benefiting our taxpayers. With regards to expenses, our expenses are slightly under budget as of Q2. This relates to salary, wages, and benefits. We had some vacant positions throughout the first 2 quarters this year that resulted in some positive variances. And then with regards to contracted services, this is really a timing issue. We have a lot of, I'll say, summer activity for contracted services like line painting, hot mix patching, sidewalk and curb rehab, asphalt, the crack filling, and then sewer and storm CCTV. A lot of this work actually began, or even some of it was completed in July, but this report is only to the end of June. So with regards to expenses, I do anticipate that we'll be slightly under budget with regards to expenses due to the vacant positions. But yeah, at this point in time, we're anticipating a very small operating surplus, which is a good thing. With regards to capital spending, if you're looking at year to date compared to our annual budget, we haven't spent a lot of money. But again, the majority of our capital projects take place in Q3 and Q4. A lot of our road work, if you're driving around, you can see a lot of the road work and sidewalk work is underway or completed. But there are a few projects that are going to be deferred partially or fully into 2024 just due to timing. These ones are related to external grants that we received, but we didn't receive notice in time to be able to get these projects completed in 2023. Primarily the Connecting Links Highway 17 project and a couple of our NOHFC applications are going to extend into 2024, but it's not going to impact the city funds or the city contributions to our 2023 capital plan because those projects were externally funded. So I've touched on some of the high level stuff. I don't know if council has any more questions or would like any further details.
Any questions or details or comments you'd like to make, councillors? Councillor Keating?
Thank you, through the chair. Stephen, I have some questions that I sent to you earlier just to give you a heads up about. I hope you got those. But I just wanted to ask,
Is the budget calendar or schedule made available to the public?
Yeah, through your worship. The fact that it's not specifically posted anywhere, Councillor Keaveney, but the fact that it's part of this agenda and as well as the March, I believe, March 27th council meeting agenda when I first presented the budget calendar to council. So it's been included in two agendas that are available to the public on our website. But I mean, if there's value, we could publish this on the finance page. I'm not sure if the general public are interested in our internal timelines to get a budget approved in December, but if council feels it's important, we can definitely do it.
I have more questions. Can I keep going? Thank you.
Do we have access to the feedback from the public budget consultation? And were there any clear popular priorities coming from the public?
Thank you again through your worship. Thank you, Councillor Keaveney. Our public survey is still open. We're keeping it open until the end of this month, and then I'll be doing a staff report with the results probably in our second council meeting in August. I took a look about a month ago about the results, and there were some consistent themes, but I don't want to comment unless because those results may not be the same today. So look forward to presenting the results to council in August.
Thank you. And my last one, are there any benefits for us more aggressively paying off our debt? So doing that a bit more quickly.
Again, through your worship, thank you for the question, Councillor Keaveney. We have two debentures. The city has two debentures. One of them, it will be fully paid off in June of 2026, and the other one will be paid off December of 2030. Both of them have some preferential interest rates when you compare them to current rates. So if we were to, borrow funds to pay these off, it might not actually be a financial net gain based on current interest rates. However, with that said, and I'm glad you gave me the heads up, so I was able to investigate this because I was sure on one, but I wasn't sure on the second debenture. But both of them have language in there that that prepayments is not permitted under both agreements. So one actually has a section that says prepayment is not permitted. The other one says loan may not be prepaid in part or in full. So it's not even an option for us right now to even investigate that.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments or questions from councillors? Okay, thank you very much for your report, Mr. Lanzaro. We have no notices of motion this evening. We have no notices of motions this evening and no motions this evening. So I'll look at our municipal officers for a report, and I'll ask our CEO, Mr. Nesbitt, to present his report, please.
Thank you, through your worship. So first off, I just want to acknowledge that many of us were part of a provincial funding announcement back earlier this month. We had our MPP, Minister Rickford, in town to make a couple of funding announcements from the NOHFC. NOHFC is getting mentioned a lot tonight, but yes, we were successful with a couple of funding applications through the NOHFC Rural Enhancement Funding Stream. One was for repairs, greatly needed repairs to our government dock. And the other funding application was for a replacement of a rooftop HVAC unit at Fire Hall number 1. So I really appreciate the funding coming from the province through NOHFC. Appreciate Minister Rickford's support in Dryden. We've been successful on many of our funding applications of late. I look forward to that success continuing, hopefully. Cross your fingers. And the changes that have been made to the NOHFC funding program a couple of years ago really have benefited rural, smaller municipalities. That the funding stream that I mentioned is funded at 75%, 25%, with the municipal contribution being 25%. So it it really does benefit our municipality and others, through that funding stream. So again, I applaud Minister Rickford in recognizing the need to make those changes and NOHFC following through on the changes. Great funding program. A couple other updates on ongoing work. Scatliff Miller Murray, as council knows, is helping us with the design work around outdoor event center. They've done an excellent job with their engagement activities within the community, both with the general public and stakeholders. Really excited, to see the final design product that'll be produced here in the next few months. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the Dryden Mill Domtar leadership team, for being a great partner in this endeavor. Of course, we've targeted the Domtar Earl Street parking lot that they've agreed to lease to the city, a long-term lease for the potential site. So again, just want to thank the Domtar team here in Dryden for their support and continued support. I understand that they met with the consulting team for a more engagement, stakeholder engagement on their thoughts on the overall design. And other initiatives moving forward in parallel, our economic development and tourism strategy. Deloitte has been hired to help us with that. They're in full swing, again, doing a lot of engagement. Looking forward to that final report here in the fall. And again, another initiative happening in parallel is the workforce attraction campaign development. So I understand that there's been a lot of interviews, and that finished product hopefully will soon be out for the public to see. From a standpoint of tools to attract workforce to Dryden, that's something that the municipality can use and many other employers in the community can use. So again, looking forward to seeing the finished product there. That's my comments for tonight, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll ask our treasurer to give his report, please.
Yeah, I've only got a few things to note or highlight this evening. The first is everybody's well aware we're right into the 2024 budget process. So I would like to remind everyone that there is a budget survey that can be completed by going to www.dryden.ca/2024 budget survey, all one word. We're going to keep that budget survey open for another week and then close it off. And hopefully we have a lot of residents responding and getting their input. The other thing I wanted to highlight is with regards to the golf course. And just note for everybody that there is a request for proposals, proposal to lease and operate Dryden's municipal golf course. And if you have any contacts out there, share the link or the RFP, or if there's anybody locally interested, make sure that you get your proposal submitted by the deadline on August 16th. That's it for me.
Thank you. I'll call on our city clerk to give her report, please.
Okay, I'm taking a little bit of a swerve on my report this evening. This is probably something that would normally be a public notice, but I thought we'd try it under here and see if we get any uptake. Volunteering as a member of a city board or committee is a great way to meet people and share your ideas, talents, and provide input into the city's decision-making process and make a difference to the community. The Dryden and District Museum Advisory Board and the city's Committee of Adjustment are currently seeking volunteer members. Along with city staff, directors on the Museum Advisory Board review and make recommendations to council about the standards, policies, operations, maintenance, future development, collections, long-term planning goals, and rules and regulations for the Dryden and District Museum. The board supports the museum by carrying out its vision and mission statements. The function of the Committee of Adjustment is to review applications, staff and agency comments, information provided by applicants, as well as the input of any neighbors at public meetings on items such as variances and consents. Decisions made by the Committee of Adjustment must be consistent with provincial and city planning policies and in accordance with the Planning Act. Members of the Dryden and Museum Advisory Board and the Committee of Adjustment are appointed by council to serve during the current term of council, and anyone interested in participating is asked to visit www.dryden.ca/boards and committees to access the application form. That's all I have this evening.
Okay, thank you very much. Call on Mr. Poole, our Public Works Manager, to give his report, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just am going to go over some of the stuff that's going on right now at Public Works. We are quite busy, and I failed to say anything 2 weeks ago, so be prepared for a little bit lengthier spoken word tonight. Anyways, with roads, it's ongoing maintenance going on. We're doing painting when we can, sweeping, cold mix patching, storm sewer repairs, concrete repairs, and sign maintenance. With our Parks Board, we're doing ongoing mowing and trimming, as well as doing some beautification lately. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but if you take a good look at the City of Dryden downtown sign in that area and across the way from the underpass on the west side as well there, they've been putting down mulch. They've been fixing up that area with the flowers and everything. It's starting to look really good over there. They're also cleaning up the suspension bridge and access to it. They've opened that up really nicely as well lately. I was down there today here. They're still cleaning up, but it looks accessible. It looks like you could see the suspension bridge from the top of the hill, and they did a good job working on that as well. With water and sewer, we've been installing numerous water and sewer services for new builds. Number of businesses going in, Arthur Street, Government Street, and then we have another one coming up on Albert Street as well. We're working on a few summer water breaks. Hopefully we don't get much more. We're doing flushing and inspection of hydrants, and work is ongoing for the filters and launders at the water treatment plant, and we're almost completed that job. We're working with the contractor and our guys on that as well here. The construction going on, calcium is going down on our rural roads. We start gravel roads here that keeps the dust down, packs it a lot more here, and keeps it in a lot better shape for longer periods of time. A little less grading has to be done. Sidewalk reconstruction, I shouldn't say we, but the contractor just finished up Kirkpatrick last week, and they're working on Princess. That work is the sidewalks removed there, and they're actually forming to probably pour curb tomorrow morning. The underpass retaining wall repairs, just a reminder on that, the contractor arrived today. The underpass will be closed from Monday to Thursday, 10 a.m. Mondays and 5 p.m. Thursdays. It will open, and then the underpass will be open to traffic Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and before that time on Monday and after that time on Thursday as well. So I'd just like to remind people of that. As well, it's open to pedestrians. I saw some posts that it wasn't, and I guess our guys accidentally put up a sidewalk closed sign, but that's taken down, and pedestrians will be able to use the underpass as well. Oh, did you? Okay. Also, our CIPP, which is cured in place pipe, that project will be starting fairly shortly. It's a fairly big project, and that'll be lining some of our sanitary sewer as well as our storm sewer system as well here. And that should be starting up in the next couple of weeks as well here. Just a reminder about garbage and recycle, starting Monday, August 1st, the new collection schedule starts. Check your Wood City website and Facebook page. In addition, the city will no longer be responsible for recycled curbside collection. Under the new model put forward by the province, companies that produce blue box materials will be required to fully fund and operate the recycling system, and B&M was selected as the collection contractor for this area. It looks like, Stephen and myself and Daryl Pollard are still dealing with looking at a final agreement for the recycling, but it looks like our transfer facility will be used by the contractors and so-called pros, the producers of the recycled material, will be using our landfill site, and we will be making some revenue off that as well here. So that's something good. going forward, considering how much blue box recycling has cost us in the past. So, and that's my report for this evening. Thank you.
Just a question on the underpass there. Yeah, there'll be a significant change in traffic flow. Can you just describe what's going to be happening on that retaining wall there during that period of time, please?
Sure. There's a number of areas where the concrete's coming away from the rebar. They'll be chipping that out. The anchors for the railing along the walkway, they're also coming apart, breaking off. So they'll be removing those, resetting the concrete, resetting the mounts for the railing. There's also some additional, I would say, spalling that's coming off. They'll be resealing it after they fix all the concrete as well on there. There is a fair amount of work there that's being done. The scheduling has worked out for us. We hope to have the underpass open at least when school starts, so the school buses will be able to use it as well here. The contractor's working for that schedule as well here. I'm not sure if I answered your question, but.
No, that's very good. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep, thanks for all your reports. So keep council up to date with what's happening. We'll move to announcements. Oh, sorry, I missed Mr. Belanger sitting there very quietly. Can you give your report, please? Thank you.
Sure. Very briefly, kind of into our final cleanup stage over at the arena right now. Most of our projects within the arena are complete. A lot of painting going on and tidying up. Insulation was put into the compressor room today, which kind of finishes off a lot of the work there. So yeah, giving her a little bit of a shine. We'll be firing up very soon. The plant will get fired up in early August in anticipation of hockey school starting in August 21st. So we're a couple of weeks out yet, but it won't be long. And for those tuning in, we do have a few more vacancies left over at the at our Dryden Hockey School. So they can reach out to the Pool and Fitness Center desk and yeah, try to get a spot on there. Soccer complex is pleased speaking with Dryden Youth Soccer representatives again today. Cabinets and some kitchen materials have been ordered, and we'll be tying in and working with them to help them out on the plumbing component. They'll be taking care of a lot of the fixtures that go into there, which will pretty well finish off the Rotary Soccer Complex. The building has been there for a while. It's been in use. One of the final things to wrap up on that facility has been the kitchen facility. So we'll be in there towards the latter part of August and into early September as we finish that off, and that'll allow next year for youth soccer to start using that kitchen and using it as a fundraiser and selling hot dogs and slushies and anything else. Again, like to thank the Rotary Club for all their hard work on the Van Horn Garden. The garden is essentially complete now. We're not going to be planting this year, but it is essentially complete. We've got a bench ordered and we're just putting the final touches on the signage. And eventually, before too long, we're going to have a little bit of a turnover event. And of course, I'll be reaching out to Mayor and Council for their participation in that. So again, big thank you to the Rotary Club. That was quite a large endeavor for them. A lot of money, a lot of time spent to make it happen, and it looks really good. I had mentioned the museum earlier. This week, we are having our first strat plan meeting as we've reached that point in time where our strat plan is now due for renewal. So the museum strategic plan, 5-year plan, we'll be getting together as a group with those boards, and hopefully, yeah, we can get some new members on there. And then finally, again, with the museum, would like to thank the Dryden Horticultural Society for their efforts on the garden. They helped us dig up and replace the garden, and the grounds really do look excellent and made a difference on that first impression when you visit the museum. I'd also like to say thank you to Michael Loon and his team who hosted the First Nation Memorial Ball Tournament this past weekend at Sandy Beach Ball Diamonds. 26 teams participated in the event. Weather actually played out. It was looking like it could have been wet on Saturday, and they did get a little bit, but event went very well. They were really impressed with our facilities. and already are looking forward to a return to Dryden next year at this same time. So thank you to Michael and his team for choosing Dryden, and glad they had an excellent event.
Okay, thank you very much. I just had a couple remarks, and that was just again around the funding that Mr. Nisbet had mentioned from the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund for instrumental funding to help us to repair our Van Horn dock as well as upgrade our fire hall. Appreciate Minister Rickford's commitment to Dryden. I'll move on to Councillor Keaveney.
I have no announcements, but I do have a question for you, Mr. Belanger. The garden at Van Horn, is it a community garden or meant to be a garden for the seniors at the seniors complex around there?
It's going to be a community garden, very much the way that the King Street Garden is. We do expect many of the residents from the senior centers there and the larger apartment complexes nearby to take advantage of it, but absolutely community garden.
Councillor Latham? Councillor McKinnon?
Just a comment. It was great to see those ball diamonds so active again this weekend. Was by there a couple of times, even got breathalyzed one time going out there. So for the residents of Dryden that like good ball, there was some good ball being played there. So hopefully we can help them next year grow that even more. Get them some advertising.
Councillor Tardif?
I just want to say that I'm encouraged by all the investment that's going on every week or every council meeting. You seem to bring forward a lot of applications and approvals. So thanks, Pam and Drew. And a lot of hard work going into the budget. We had the finance committee meeting last week, and I appreciate all the effort going in from Chelsea and Steve and the rest of the crew there. So that's it.
Councillor Price?
Yes, thank you through the chair. Just going back to what Blake had said about the recycling. Sorry, I had to use my cell phone because my laptop decided to die to look up the date. The new group, which is Invente, I believe that's what it's called. They will be here on August the 10th at the Days of Summer, which is on a Thursday downtown on King Street, to do, I guess it's not a presentation, but just to show what they'll be doing, types of things that can be recycled, that type of thing. So they'll be down there on the 10th of August. Also for Days of Summer, this coming Thursday, there's quite a bit going on down there. So for the residents and kids and stuff, you want something to do, go on down. It's a free event, and of course, it always is weather dependent. So if it's looking for it to be a great day, get down there and enjoy that. Also, I wanted to congratulate a couple of folks sitting around here. Mr. Stephen from our community services got nominated for an award, I believe, through Business Excellence. I think it's Community Spirit. Am I correct?
I'm not exactly sure.
I think it's Community Spirit, and as you're listening to him list off all of the things that he's done in the last 2 weeks, you can understand why he would be nominated for that award. He is probably not one of the busiest mans, but he certainly works hard for our community. Also, Councillor McKinnon was nominated, and I think our previous councillor, John Carlucci, was nominated for awards as well for all that they do for our community. I'm not sure if they're Community Spirit, but I do know that there were awards. You were nominated in those. I would also like to send out my condolences to the Adams family. A member of our community, George Adams, passed away last week, and he was a big part, I believe, of the Ice Dogs and in coaching and all of those things. We were reminiscing about it last week, and he played a big part in that arena. as well as the Turpin family who had a great loss last week as well. And so my condolences to those two families. Thank you.
Councillor Knoll?
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to remind Mayor and Council about August 10th. Local Dairy Queen is hosting what they call Blizzard Day in support of the Miracle Network to assist children with life-threatening illnesses and any way necessary is to go through the process. Malay Patel is the owner, and he's asking for volunteers to come spend some time making blizzards that day. He'll be given the appropriate hat and apron and training required. It's my understanding he's going to approach local media for a live broadcast. It's a good chance to get out and meet the community and do something good for kids all over Canada. So I've had a few responses already, but anybody wish to participate, you can email me and I'll try to let Malay know and he can organize this because we don't want to be tripping over one another either, but he can organize us throughout the day if we can. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. We're now at the confirmatory bylaw. I'll ask the clerk for someone to move and second the motion.
Thank you. As the mayor said, I'm looking for somebody to move and second the confirmatory bylaw. Got Councillor Price and Councillor Noel. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Price, seconded by Councillor Noel, the bylaw 2023-42 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council be read a first, second, and third time.
All those in favor? Carried. And now we're at adjournment. I'll ask the clerk to manage this.
I'll manage it. Looking for somebody to move and second the adjournment motion, please. Councillor Marty, thank you. Moved by Councillor McKinnon, seconded by Councillor Keavening, that this meeting be declared adjourned.
Those in favor? Carried, and thank you, council and staff, for a productive meeting.